Alright, on the bench this week I have a Hondo Formula 1 series guitar. I'm dating this one to 1985 based on the serial number. I think it's kind of based on a Jackson, the headstock and the body. Yeah, shark fin inlays there. It's pretty cool. 2 single coils and a humbucker, floating trem. Whole bunch of knobs and switches over here. The owner got this one at a pawn shop. Wants to start playing, and so I guess this was a good price, and we're going to set it up for him to make sure it works the way it should. A couple things I'm noticing: the knobs are real loose here. This one's real hard to turn. I think that's a volume. Not sure what all the switches do. When we plugged it in, I think I was only getting noise out of the humbucker. I wasn't getting anything out of the single coils. So, yeah, let's set you up and we'll start having a look through it. Okay, let's plug it in and see where we're at. It's acting like a kill switch. I don't know what that is. It sounds like it's reversing polarity or something. But like I said, I don't think I'm getting anything out of the single coils up here. Let's see. These are all up all the way. Nothing there. Nothing there. Very slightly out of there. Alright. Are these 3 switches for these? That's off. That's on. That's either way. Yeah, at any rate, I'm not getting anything out of the single coils in any combination. I get a very faint out of this one, but only if the humbucker's on. Oh, there it is. Something like that. Definitely there. Work these switches a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting anything out of these single coils at all. So, let's flip it over and pull off the back plate and see what's happening in there. The model number of this, by the way, is an H763B. Alright, let's see what's going on in here. If anything is severed from these being loose. See anything? Okay, nothing looks severed. Thinking the big gray one coming in here is the humbucker, and that goes to here, and I can see if this got twisted that might sever one of your cables, because these are very thin wire here. But we really didn't have a problem with the humbucker, right? So we'll go with that. Yeah, but I see how that could get pulled. What's this one here? There's another wire just hanging off of here. Alright, so I got my multimeter here set to the 20K horseshoe, and I'm just going to test some of these, and I'm thinking, is it up? Alright, I got my multimeter out there on 20K horseshoe, and I just seem to get 8.18, and I think it's right off of the humbucker. The other two, when I try to test them directly, I'm not getting anything until I flip the switch, and I think that's just going through the humbucker somehow. One thing I am noticing here, this is a little charred. This switch right here, I don't know if that's just a covering or what. I'm going to do some deoxit in the pots. I'm going to pull the front knobs off and tighten them up so that they're not moving around, and some more deoxit I think in the switches. See how that, if that clears anything up. Alright, this thing is frozen solid. And this looks like it... Let's see, what's attached to this? The humbuckers are attached to this. Might be a tone. But no wonder why the knobs felt like they were moving, because this was loose and you weren't really moving the knob. This nut was loose, so you weren't moving the knob really. You were... Yeah, when I'm trying to move that, I'm just moving the whole post. Just break free now. Alright, so this post is just locked on here. I don't even know if I... There we go. I wonder if that controlled the volume for something else here. But boy, these are tight. All three of them. Alright, I'm calling it. These two pickups have left the chat. So, I was able to free up the pots and clean up the switches. Seems like everything's working good there. One of the pots was completely seized. The other one was moving, but not that freely. And now I got them both spinning pretty good. So those were completely filthy. And when I use my micrometer to measure out the pickups, I'm getting 8.18 out of the humbucker. And I'm getting nothing out of these two when I check them down here at the switches. So I had this working single coil from the Attic Find Squire. And I just kind of jumpered it over with some alligator clips off the switch, each switch respectively, and that works. So I know that the switches work because they, you can turn it off and on. So then I can go to, let's say, you have 2 points here on the top of your single coil. So my horseshoe, and you can see this one's measuring out. I can't get it to hold still. It was 5 something, 5.8. And then if I turn this over, so over here on the front, I have these two test points. And I should be getting something here if I test from that point to that point, and I get nothing. And then this point to this point, I get nothing, even when they're switched. Nothing. Nothing. So I think that maybe oxidation or something built up inside of these pickups. I mean, it's almost 40 years old, so I don't think they're any good anymore. And so what I have here is I have this unwanted MX Magnum, which I have plans for, which don't include this neck. I hate that headstock. Looks like a droopy ding-dong or something. And it doesn't include single coils in my plan either. So I got 3 good single coils there to choose from. And I'm just going to swap them over into here. So I'm going to pull them out of here, this dusty old thing. And I don't feel bad about it. This has kind of been a parts guitar for me. These things still go for like 40 bucks. So even though that's a vintage guitar, nobody really wants it. And hopefully it'll have a better, newer life when I'm done with it. But this thing is, I think, is a little more important. So let me get the pickups out of that old one. I'll get the strings, and I'll get the pickups out of this one, and we'll start doing the swap over. Alright, problem number 45. The wire isn't long enough to go, of course. So, which is kind of good. I can actually run it through this way, which would be easier through the back. So, let me set up a couple new harnesses. Wasn't liking these, which ones were they? Wasn't liking the pickup ring screws, nor the pickup screws for the single coils. So I'm going to see if I have something to replace those. Alright, moment of truth. Let's see, they're all on. Nice. 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 Beautiful. Alright, that is good. I got a mess and a half here. I'm going to clean up, and I'm going to start going through the fretboard here, and yeah, start doing some cleanup on this thing. Let's do it. Alright, I've gone through the fretboard. Looks really good. A couple of them were just a little high. I think it was 13 and 8. but they're all pretty good. I don't think this saw much use. There was minimal wear, if any, on all the frets. I think it was just unused since 1985, and that's why everything's kind of like seized up, and even the old pickups, they kind of swelled up. So I think that those were oxidized. It's pretty filthy too here. I'm just going to go straight to some IPA to get the major gunk off. Alright, all the nuts here on the tops are all super loose. Just tighten. Alright, so she's all cleaned up. Fretboard's gone through. I just checked the saddle screws to make sure those are going up and down. The back screws to make sure those are going in and out. We're good there. I'm going to set this guy up with 9s because he's just starting out. I don't want him to get discouraged. So. So Hondo got a bad rap in the 80s on guitars, and with good reason. I remember the music shop that I used to go to at the time had sold Hondo, and boy were they crap. Like worse than First Act, if you can imagine that. So to see this from 1985 is like surprising that they were doing build quality like this at that time. My first guitar was actually a Hondo, and it was mid 70s, late 70s that it was made. I got it in 85 or 86 from a friend of mine, and yeah, playing a Hondo back then was akin to walking in with like Tough Skins and Olympia Air Jordans or something. You were just totally looked down on. But if people played that guitar, they knew it was a little bit different than the Hondos we were seeing at the music shop. So what I was reading about Hondo guitars in the late 70s was they were taking stock from the Ibanez factory, doing assembly and then putting their name on it so that Ibanez could avoid any lawsuits. I don't know how true that is, but it makes a good little story, I guess. And if you've ever seen a Hondo from that era, late 70s, their quality's as good as the Ibanez's that were coming out in that era. So get yourself a Hondo.
Play the drums in a rock and roll band. I wanna be a body man. Play the drums in a rock and roll band. Gonna be your body man. Play the drums for the rock and roll, rock and roll.
This is a decent little guitar, really comfortable, really fast on the neck. The nines make it really nice on your fingers. You know, I wish I could have kept the original pickups. I pulled the covers off and they're pretty bulgy there. Don't think they're supposed to do that. And would have liked to kept those, but you know what? The guitar that this came out of is vintage too, so it's of the era. So it's not that bad. But the trick tone circuitry works as advertised. Might be confusing to somebody just starting out, but I think once you get the hang of it, you'll know exactly what to do. And just a weird thing about this bridge, it's a weird bridge as it is. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this one, where it kind of hinges right up in here. But the saddles, I got them back as far as they're going to go, and they could probably go back like not even a 1/16 of an inch. But I have the strings completely compressed. I don't want to go back any further. So that's just kind of weird to me. I don't know if the bridge was set from the factory too forward, but who knows. But I think it's playable, and the owner's going to have a lot of fun with it. So I want to thank you for joining me. Give me a thumbs up for filming it for you, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.